You're listening to the best Phillies sports show in the Northeast on Northeast Streaming Sports.
What's up, everybody? And we are back. And this is one of these ones where we don't get to spend 5 hours with you guys. You know, we only get to do a quick 2-hour show, which is all right by me because sometimes you need a break. And I think, it's been one of those fun times where, I love doing that with you guys, but I tell you, it's been tough watching that team do it anymore. So we get to just a normal everyday show. The Philly Sports Show is back with myself and El Parcero. Philly.
That's right.
Yeah, we're here on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network and on Zodiac TV. So happy to have you guys here with us tonight. My man, how you doing?
Oh, dude, I'm feeling great. It was the girlfriend's birthday weekend. Had a lot of fun. Catching up on a lot of Philly sports, but I'm glad to be back here, man. And it's a weird weekend that we had. I don't know how to feel about it. It was a weird taste in the mouth when I got back to it today. But no, I'm excited. It's another Monday. We got everyone here on TikTok, got everyone on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and everything. So I'm glad to be back, man. Let's get to this.
Yeah, there is a tremendous amount to talk about, and I don't even know where to start. I mean, I guess we'll start with the bad news. At least that's kind of how I look at it as the Flyers.
Yeah, man, we got to start there.
Yeah, and it's a shame because I go to the game on Saturday. We have a great time on Saturday. We win the game. We beat Boston in regulation. First time all season long we're able to do that. I know that we beat them in overtime, but it's the first time we're able to beat them in regulation. And then we come out and poop the bed on Sunday. Literally poop the bed.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, so I was a little frustrated about that. I thought that they were maybe turning something around here, that they could have started to make this run. Nope.
So for context for me, like I was telling you guys, I was out celebrating my girlfriend's birthday. So last night I was picking up dinner, see a guy there at the restaurant as well where I was picking up the food, wear a Flyers mask, and I asked him, "Hey man, break it to me, man. Did we win today?" He's like, he looks at me, shakes his head. Nah, we did not. We lost to the Sabres again, and I literally just gasped. And we just had a moment, and that's kind of how it's been. And it's so hard to watch Flyers hockey right now. But to lose the Sabres again, man, and we're going to get to today's news, but man, did the Flyers really give us a slap in the face this year, man. Wow. It's rough.
Yeah, and it's a shame. And, of course, today was the hockey trade deadline, and I kind of thought the Flyers would be sellers, and they weren't sellers enough as far as I was concerned. I think that there was still more that they could have done that they didn't do. But, so they got rid of, I mean, I don't know if anybody's been hearing me at all. I've been saying about Gustafsson, I didn't want to see him again in a Flyers uniform. And we traded him for literally a bag of pucks and some Tim Hortons donuts. You know what I mean? So I felt that was an appropriate trade because I thought he stunk out loud. They trade him for the 7th round pick. And then the other trade, which wasn't as surprising to me, but it may have been to some other Flyers fans, trading Raffle to Washington. And Washington made a couple of big trades today.
Yeah.
If you're a hockey person, Washington, the last trade that went down today was almost like the last thing that got mentioned. Was they picked up Anthony Mantha from the Red Wings, and they gave up Vrana, first and a 2nd round pick. They also threw in Panic, and really Panic, when you give away Panic and then you get Raffle, you upgrade in that position as well. So I think Raffle was the pickup for that spot right there. But they're going all in for this, cup. They think that they got a chance, and they tried to make something happen. So they really did go a little bit crazy, and the Flyers get a 5th round pick. So they did pick up a 5th round and a 7th round pick today. But that, for the most part, that was all that they had going on for them.
Yeah, man.
And so, I mean, Boston picked up a lot of people today. The Flyers weren't in position. We're not in a position to start to try to trade for some players. This is not going to be their year. It's not going to happen, and to be honest, now that the trade deadline is over, I am more interested in seeing the kids coming up. So I don't care about the guys. Like if you've been playing like Nolan Patrick, send him down to Lehigh. Bring up these kids. You know what I mean? Oscar Lindblom, kind of the same thing. I know what I got with you. I think that Oscar Lindblom could come back a little bit. He was doing really well before he got diagnosed with cancer. But it's time to start seeing. I want to see the kids. I want the kids to start to come up and play.
Yeah, man, it's so surreal today. I mean, literally, the Flyers is after last night's result or yesterday's result. And then today with the trade deadlines and obviously the extension that we saw today, it was clear that the Flyers have officially checked out of the 2021 season and are now focusing on 2022. It just kind of sucks because we talked about it. Going into the season, we were talking about the Flyers being a cup contender. And look, this past all season, it was too quiet. Like there wasn't enough moves going on. Like the previous all season, I felt like the Flyers were aggressive. They felt like this was a good team that could make it to playoffs, and they just made a couple. The Kevin Hayes move, the Matt Niskanen move as well. Like those moves helped create a team that was a playoff caliber team. This past all season, Niskanen, surprises us and retires. Okay, like that stuff happens in sports. The Flyers then went and replaced him with Eric Gustafsson. And it just feels like nothing was really clicking with the defense. And then as the season went on, the offense started sputtering as well. Like this high-flying, high-scoring Flyers offense just kind of disappeared. And you're just scratching your head. You see these moves. You trade Raffle away. You should have never even gotten Gustafsson, but you get rid of him as well. You get like 3 draft picks out of it, and then Scott Lawton signs his 5-year, $15 million extension today as well. And it just all these moves. It's like we're just focusing on next year, and it was hard. It was hard to make a move as well. I do understand because we are looking at a potential. We have an expansion draft coming up. We have the Seattle Kraken coming to the league. They're going to be looking to add some players to this team as well. And for the Flyers, it was going to be tough to keep everyone together with even their contract expirings as well. So. It just sucks because the expectations we had going into the season, but I mean the Flyers are just looking at 2022, and we'll see what they do with this offseason. They really need to bolster this defense. You need to find that pairing with Provy, and I don't know if Sanheim and Meyer should be playing together anymore, but you're still going to need some bodies back there. You really are going to need some bodies back there. And I think it's been shown, it's been proven Carter Hart isn't the problem. Carter Hart is the future of the Philadelphia Flyers. And yeah, you're right. Like this offense, there's a lot of guys on the forward lines that are great at creating for others, but we really do lack that guy that is going to just be that aggressor who's going to score a goal at will as well. And we're kind of missing that too. So we're looking ahead at the future. I agree with you. There are some guys in the pipeline that I would like to see get a chance up here, see what we got in the future. But yeah, man, it's today kind of sucks with the Flyers, man. It really does.
Well, I've been kind of saying that they were at that point, anyways. I still root for them, and I'm still going to go root for them. You know what I mean? I still want them to win these games. Now I want them to kind of play spoiler as best as possible and beat up teams. But
show some heart, man. Show some heart.
Yeah, they have to. And like I said, I think the kids coming up are going to be able to make those types of changes. But I'm going to go in a little bit of a soapbox rant here that I am tired. The Flyers used to be one of the cream teams in Philadelphia. They were the top of Philadelphia sports along with the Eagles. And that, Ed Snyder made it that way. Yeah, and right now, the Flyers, I have no idea who's part of the ownership. I know who owns the Flyers. I know it's Comcast that owns the Flyers. And they have made this now a corporate team, and they don't care. There's no ownership. There's no – listen, I don't know if anybody's ever heard me talk about Paul Holmgren, but as long as he's a member of this franchise, This franchise is never going to win. He has got antiquated systems, antiquated ideas. He's never been able to win a championship in any division, not when he was in juniors, not when he was in seniors, not when he was she's always calling me right when I'm doing a show. Not when he was in seniors, not in the AHL, the WHA, or the NHL. Not as a coach, not as a GM, not as a president. Now, not as a senior vice president to whoever is acting in charge of this franchise. That right now is so. Nothing that they do, everything at this is all happening from the top and working its way down. The fact that they are so ridiculous on how things are happening with this franchise just angers me to no end. Chuck Fletcher was a half-rate GM when he was with the Minnesota Wild, and then they brought him in here. He started to, obviously they need to bring somebody in, but yet you kind of see all the different things. At least Hextall had a plan. He had some youth. He was unwavering with his coach, but at least he had an idea and something to do. And right now, I don't think that anybody in upper management has any clue whatsoever on how to run this team. And now this team has gone from the top of Philadelphia sports down to underneath the union, as far as I'm concerned. And as much as I love this team and will always root for this team, they got to make some big changes, because as of right now, I don't see them getting any better. And this team is only old. They're old and tired and slow and lazy, as far as I'm concerned. And that's my problem with the Flyers right now.
Philly sports guy, we always appreciate your passion and your brutal honesty all the freaking time, man. And no, some of your points, man, I completely agree with you. Who answers to these questions that we have with the miscues of the Flyers? Like who answers to this? We know CONCAF owns his team, but who is the guy responsible for signing off on some of these decisions that we're talking about? And do you remember when we were at the Rangers game together? And what did I tell you? They love to milk the crap out of Gritty. Right. So as long as there's just Flyers hockey going on in the ice, they're going to keep selling us Gritty, and they're going to keep giving us a team that's just good enough to just compete in the National Hockey League right now.
Right. And that's it. And that's all there is. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. It's like, I know. Yeah. So Dave Scott is the CEO and the governor of all this. You know what I mean? And they, and I know that Paul Holmgren still has his ear. You know what I mean? But I tell you, Paul Holmgren stunk out loud when he was any type of management in Philadelphia. And that's why he's never been able to win on any type of circumstance. He was never able to get anywhere. Hey, you know what he did? He got a hat trick in a Stanley Cup playoff game. He was I think the second American-born player to ever get a hat trick in a Stanley Cup playoff game.
Wow.
That's it. You look him up on get his whole career, and you check awards that he's won. None at all.
Right.
You know what else he's known for? He's known for the fact that he punched a referee in the chest, and that's what changed all the rules on touching a referee. That's what else he did.
To your point as well, like you were talking about where the Flyers would rank in Philly sports. We can make the argument where like the Flyers, like up until I will say maybe like 2015, the Flyers were always like one of the most respected franchises in the National Hockey League as well. I know, like, and we'll get to that as well, like the last time I won a Stanley Cup, but it's been a while, but they constantly were in the playoffs, constantly one of the top teams in the East Division, or Eastern Conference, I'm sorry. And now, like, we're lucky we scratched the playoffs now. Look at the past couple seasons and the amount of times we missed the playoffs. And the Stanley Cup drought is real. It is real. It's over 50 years now. There's a whole generation that doesn't even know about the Flyers back in the 70s, what the Flyers were back then. And it's it's just one of these franchises now. Like, I mean, there's franchises like this in every league, but the prestige is starting to just go stale with the Flyers. It's so upsetting.
Ed Snyder would never let this happen. He would never have let this happen. He would have started to make some major changes because of this. And I know that Ed was a very loyal guy, loved his players, and his players were always welcome in his house. And he always had jobs for them and stuff like that. But he also was very particular on who he is because he wanted winners around. That's why he kept his team around. That's why when Fred Shero said, win today and we'll walk together forever, that was a very true statement by him because they still are really close friends and they still are all very close together.
Right.
The problem was Paul Holmgren wasn't part of that team. Paul Holmgren came the year after, the year that they lost in the Stanley Cup Finals. So, and that's from there on, they haven't done anything since then. And Paul Holmgren's been a member of this team throughout. And I'm telling you, they're not going to win as long as he's still attached to this franchise.
It is very disrespectful for the Flyers to expect us to just say, okay, we'll just move on to next year. Like, no, this is where we were at in the beginning of the season. It's literally like a slap in the face to Flyers Nation to say, listen, guys, just wasn't our year. We're just going to move on to next year. Like, what? No. Look at where we were last year in the bubble. That team should have been built on. And we should be right now, we should be talking about a big move that we made today. A big move that's going to push us into the Stanley Cup contention. Not just, we just need to make the playoffs. No, we're Stanley Cup contention. And you look around the division. I mean, the Islanders already made some big moves. The Zajac and Palmieri trades, I thought that was good for those guys. You want to talk about slaps in the face? The Penguins with Hextall as the GM go out and get Jeff Carter to come back to the East Coast to play for the Penguins. So now we got to watch Jeff Carter suit up in that ugly black and yellow.
He would only go there. He would only go there. He told LA he either gets traded to Pittsburgh or he's going to retire. That's it. So that was kind of how that was the end all be all. He was going to retire at the end of the season unless he got traded to Pittsburgh. Now he's got family out in Pittsburgh. Still likes going down to Sea Isle, So there's a lot of reasons why he wanted to go to Pittsburgh. However, but he has, Hexie got him out there to LA, to win a cup. Man. So they won 2 cups together, and now he's with Pittsburgh, and now they're going to go try to make a 3rd cup. I don't think they do it. I don't think that they get out there.
No, I agree. I
don't know. I think between what Washington did and what the Islanders have done, I think that those two are going to be the ones that meet to see who gets out of this division.
What about with the Bruins? Because I just feel like if you put Taylor Hall in a good situation, I think he can actually do something for you. Like, people forgot he literally 2 years ago won the MVP of the league with the bad Devils team. I think that Devils team a lot had to do with what Taylor Hall was doing that year. So I mean we talked about plenty enough what the Bruins have done to us, but I think that's an underrated trade in my opinion.
Well, and they raped Buffalo for him. Buffalo
was just like, just take all our players. Go ahead, take it. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean,
being a Buffalo fan.
I thought he was at least worth a 1st round pick. And also,
seriously,
why do the trade? Why do the trade at midnight last night? I mean, why not wait till you get closer? I bet you if you offered a few teams like, hey, can you beat this trade, that somebody else might have done something, but nope. That's why Buffalo is one of the worst teams in the league, because they don't have the right idea, unfortunately. They used to be great. They used to be a very a storied franchise.
Always competitive.
But not anymore.
So Flyers fans, next time you want to look at a bad situation, just tell yourself, at least we're not Sabres fans, right?
So it's a shame, but moving on. That's why I didn't even wear my Flyers hat today. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to, move along.
I'm really digging the Phillies hat, though. I like this one.
This is an old school Phillies hat.
That's why I like it.
A long time. So,
how about those?
And we might as well go to the Phillies. We might as well talk about the Phillies. I mean, like, since the last time I spoke to you, I went to a Phillies game.
That's right.
They put me on ESPN because we lost that game. It was our first loss of the season.
Right.
And then, we then came back and beat the Mets the next night. And we spanked them the next day, actually. And then, of course, we went down to Atlanta and we lost game number 1, where it was Atlanta's home opener, which was fine. I kind of expected that. It's their home opener, and they were really excited about that, and back having fans in the stands, so they treated them to a really good show. And the
Charlie
Phillies,
Morton on the mound for them, right?
Right, and the Phillies just didn't have it that night. Game number 2, very interesting game. Phillies are have the lead, and I used to think that there's a reason why the infield gets together and talk about what's supposed to happen when the ball goes to somebody. They didn't do it when the man on third base. And Al Fonseca, whatever, if I'm killing his name, I may have killed his name, you know what I mean? But he gets hit back the ball, and he goes to turn around to throw it to Didi, and Didi's pointing him like, yo, to the plate. And, of course, that run scores. They tie it up. They score another run. They win the game. And realistically, it's, that was a game that we lost. We just gave it up. And you could tell by the look on the manager's face when he's like, that was just ridiculous. Ridiculous. You're a Major League Baseball player. You should know these things by now. But nope, sometimes you got to remind them. You got to remind them because ultimately everybody can make mistakes. So I'm not really it's one game out of 60, 162. As I've been told plenty of times, you're going to win 60, you're going to lose 60. It doesn't matter what happens with those other 42 games that are most important. This is one of those games, and I put this into the 42 mix. This is a game that, should have been won and was lost. But then we go back to Sunday, and with Sunday's game, we get a makeup call that I could, it never seems that the calls ever go Phillies' way. This one did. And I tell you, if for all those people that are asking about it, all those people that want to know, he never touched the plate. As far as I'm concerned, he never touched the plate. I saw it. I looked at it from all those different angles. There ain't no way that toe was big enough. I got some big hands. You know what? I got some big toes too. And my toe ain't big enough to reach where he was. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. But as far as I'm concerned, that's a W, and we'll take it. So, got to take the wins when you get them. So, that also can go into the 42 mix.
That's right. Oh, it was definitely an interesting weekend. I mean, look, you don't want that pressure on you. I mean, like, you don't want. Imagine if the Phillies right now were sitting at 8-1 right now. Like, that's a lot of pressure to be put on us. But look, the Braves are a good team. The Braves are going to be there at the end. I mean, we did end this series with the win. Like you said, it was definitely a call that went our way. I usually don't get those, right? But I guess Alex height does work sometimes. You use it to his benefit there, man. But I mean, a little bit concerning about some of the pitching. Obviously, Nola hasn't been spectacular thus far this season. Wheeler looked really good in that first game, and then obviously on was it Friday he was out there. It was a different story. And not
for nothing, I think he talked himself out of that. Like, I feel like that, like he walked in, he was all upset. He's like, whoever the schedule makers were clowns for setting us up. Why have it so the first 2 games, you have up against the same teams? And I'm like, I listened to that and I'm like, he just talked himself out of the win. And he did. He talked himself out of that win.
I hear you, man. I agree. Eflin too, man. He went 6 innings and he had 4 earned runs as well. Matt Moore, it's so tough because when I saw him in that first Mets game and he started off with those 4 strikeouts, I was like, okay, we got a crafty lefty. I like this. But I mean, obviously, since then he's I think he's allowed was like it's been almost 10 runs. It feels like. So I'm just a little, I do think guys like Wheeler, Anola, and Eflin, they're gonna be fine. I feel like once the season goes along, they'll be good. Still question marks for me with Matt Moore and Chase Anderson. And we were supposed to have Phillies baseball tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but of course, there's a big rainstorm down the East Coast, and the Mets first game 1 is going to be postponed. But we would have probably seen Chase Anderson tonight. But no, I just really want to continue seeing this pitching keep growing. And honestly, Philly sports guy, still I feel the same way about the center field. Don't really feel too confident with Hazley or Roman Quinn starting back there, man.
Well, at least now Roman Quinn has got a batting average. So he didn't have one up for a long time, and it's okay because he's the 8th spot. He's in the 8th spot, so I'm not as concerned. The 7 I am okay with. I'd rather him not make any mistakes defensively. It stinks that he can't seem to hit a ball at all. I don't care if he bunts every play. Every time he goes up to the plate, I don't care. Run it out.
Yeah.
Run it out. Make it happen. You know what I mean? Figure it out. You know what I mean? But I don't care. Don't make any mistakes out in the field. Don't get hurt.
That's right. I agree with you there.
Just keep playing. Can't have everybody be great. You know what I mean? What the Marlins won a World Series. They had the best, defensive catcher in the league, and he batted like 120. So, no, Eddie, no. I will not go that route. No, we will not bring back Odubel.
I mean,
we cannot go there.
Odubel didn't do anything spectacular for us to be calling for Odubel. He's not going to be doing. If he does come, he's not going to do much better than what Hazley or Roman Quinn is doing. I'm telling you guys.
Well, he'll be a little bit better at the plate, but he'll still strike out at bad pitches, and he'll make defensive errors. Is where I have the biggest problem with him because he doesn't have the baseball IQ that he should.
I got you.
Hey, try to make a trade, I guess. You could try to do whatever. Hopefully somebody warms up at AA and AAA. Start bringing people up. I don't care. You know what I mean? Make something happen. As of right now, until it starts costing you games for real, because it hasn't really cost us a game yet. Once it starts costing us games, then you start worrying about it, making a change. Till that time, like I said, he's in the 8th spot. So it is what it is.
Yeah, man. What are your thoughts on Kutch, man? So far this season.
On who?
McCutchen.
Well, I've always been a McCutchen fan.
Right.
I've always been a McCutchen fan. Even when he was with Pittsburgh. So I was happy when the Phillies got him. I was upset when he got hurt because I really thought that as far as he went is where the Phillies went. And I think this year he's doing exactly what he does. I think he leads the team. He's the leadoff hitter. That's what he's supposed to do. He's a little slower than he used to be, and that's okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. And like I said, I like the leadership that he has. He's a veteran guy, and he just does what he does, and he does it well. And that's what I appreciate about Kutch.
It's crazy. He's been so his debut. I got all the stats and everything. He debuted on July 4th in 2009. That's crazy. He's still kicking.
13 years.
Not bad. All right. So for me, with this past weekend, now remember I'm a younger Phillies fan as well, but I think after this past weekend, the Braves, to me, I think I'm starting to dislike them more than the Mets. I'm sure you saw the little clip that went viral over the weekend.
Should we show it?
Let's
show the clip? Let's roll the clip, shall we? Where's that clip? Here it is for everybody.
Bryce, you'll never be as good as Acuna. As hard as you try, you'll never be as good as him. You'll never be as good as Acuna. You can try as hard as you want. You'll never be as good as Acuna. Ever.
It's crazy because like fans like that feel like, oh yeah, I just got the Bryce Harper's head. He doesn't realize he made himself look like an absolute complete idiot. Any fan, it doesn't matter what sport it is, if you do not know how to properly pronounce the star player of your team, are you really a fan? It's Acuna. Acuna. Like you don't have to say like with the Latino accent, like you say Acuna. Like what is an Acuna? Like come on, man.
Well, and as you can see, it's Acuna. It's Acuna. You know,
Even
like Acuna.
Yeah.
It's Acuna, not Acuna. Acuna. You know what I mean? It's got the little tilde over the end, and it gives that Enya.
It's bad when Bryce Harper's giving you Spanish lessons from the dugout, man.
Exactly. You know what? And I'm a heckler. I like to heckle some people. You know what I mean? And I like to be funny about it. You know what I mean? So when I think about this and I see what he's doing, I can appreciate that because he actually, hey, you got a response. The fact that you're an idiot, you know, and you can't even say your own player's name right is your own fault. You know what I mean? That just makes you look dumb. But I mean, I appreciate the fact of what he tried to do. And I wish he could have said it right because then he really would have done well with the heckle. But again, he blew it. They blew it, just like anything else.
So, but I do have to ask because for me, like, you know, when we talk about Philly sports, like there's clear games and clear moments in the Eagles and Dallas rivalry, the Pittsburgh, the Penguins and the Flyers, Celtics and the Sixers, heck, even Union and Red Bull, right? But for me, like the Phillies and the Mets, especially like as like a kid that grew up in the 90s, obviously like we all remember the 07 collapse by the Mets. But to me, like I hate the Braves. Dude, like I cannot stand the Atlanta Braves. Now, I don't know if it's just me because of what's been going on in the past couple seasons, but you've seen the 80s and the 90s. Like what team still boils your freaking blood like Dallas does?
So ultimately, I mean, it's the Penguins.
Well, I'm talking about for the Phillies, for the baseball.
For the Phillies, you know, I'm always going to have a little bit for the Mets. It's always going to be the Mets there, and so Washington never really bothered me. The Dodgers.
That's true.
The Dodgers. Yeah, and I'll never forget when we went out there, and this is back in the 2008 season, and the Dodgers swept us. It was a 4-game sweep that we went out there, and they came back here for 4 games, and we won the first 3. And they were talking to Charlie Manuel, and Charlie goes, "We owe them 1 more." And we took that 1 more. We swept them, and we swept them here. And that was why I was really, you know, I'm like, I hate the Dodgers. They try to buy their way. They try to be the Yankees of the West. You know, they're able to get over the hump last year because nobody was cheating. You know what I mean? I guess so. But
yeah, Tampa gave them the World Series. Heck,
they did. They did. But I mean, it's even still. You know what I mean? It was like I have that type of disdain for them.
But even like back in like when we had Steve Carlton and Mike Schmidt, like there was still that rivalry back in those days.
So those days, it was more. I mean, it was some with the Dodgers, but it was more the Astros.
I remember. Yeah, I remember hearing that series
where the Astros were really good, and they always played the Phillies really tough. They had their number for a long time. I mean, I kind of remember that with Houston, you know, and then of course they went to the AL. But they
had problems with the Dodgers too, like in a couple series in the playoffs.
The Tommy Lasorda era was, you know, tough. I mean, I think it was 83. The Fernando Valenzuela and stuff like that. I mean, there was times that the Dodgers were good, and you know they would beat the Phillies and such. But
still never forget my first game as a Parcero Philly at the Phillies. I was at the Dodgers game, and I think we lost like 22 to something, like 22-11. It was like a crazy score line, and I swear to God, there was more Dodgers fans than Phillies fans, and I was just sitting there like, what is going on right now? This is Philadelphia. This is not okay.
Right. You know, I mean, and that's I hate the Dodgers. So that's the team that I kind of the Mets, of course, but the Dodgers definitely give me that feeling like I can't stand them. The Yankees never did that for me because I was always a baseball fan and I kind of liked the Yankees a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like I never like outwardly rooted for them but I was just, you know, when I think of baseball history and I'm a history purist and stuff like that, the fact that the Yankees had those records and stuff was just really good. I was always a Jeter fan. You know what I mean? Like just the way Jeter played the game. I really kind of liked. Although interestingly enough, I didn't like the Mattingly years. The non-Mattingly, like when he was playing first base and stuff like that. I wasn't a Yankees fan during that time. But you know, every other time, like it was just like I kind of liked that. And then it was the Cardinals a little bit. I didn't like the Cardinals.
Such a pesky team, man. It's been like that for its whole history.
I didn't like La Russa. You know what I mean? He thought he invented the game of baseball.
And he's back
I
now.
just couldn't hand. You know what? Oh, you think you're smarter than everybody else? Are you gonna pitch the pitcher eighth? Get out of here! Get away from me! You know, you stink. You know what I mean? He just wasn't very. You know, like it's. You know, and I know he was a really intelligent baseball mind, and you know, and I can give respect to a lot of different guys. You know what I mean? Like, but not him. He was just. I think that he was just too arrogant for his own good. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, I don't know.
All right. Well, so for the rest of the week here, I mean, obviously we're gonna finish out this Mets series, and then you mean you said it. We're gonna welcome the Cardinals here.
Yep. And then the Cardinals, and then I mean, I think we don't even get into the Marlins until May, right? Like that's what I want to see. I want to see the rest of the East. I'm not even worried about everybody else. You know, I feel like that the East. Different than the NFC East, the NL East is going to run the table on a lot of these other teams. You know, I think that we're going to beat each other up and we're going to be able to beat up everybody else.
Right.
I mean,
so
that's just my opinion.
Right. So it looks like I got it up here. The first time we faced Washington will be May 11th. We'll be down there for looks like a 3-game series. And then Miami is going to come up here on May 18th for another 3-game series. But I think Miami hasn't started off hot. Yeah, they're 2-6 right now. They haven't started off hot either. But
because they didn't play the Phillies yet.
Yeah, that's that. I was just about to say, man. I'm nervous for that series because we remember the last 2 years against Miami, and we'll see how it goes this year. But Philly's looking good in first place right now. But hey, still very early.
Like I said, This is where it's going to be a big deal, beating each other up. I don't mind, you know, like we need to go 500 against these teams.
Right.
If we go 500 against these teams, then we're going to be golden because we're going to spank everybody else. There's nobody else out there in the NL, minus a couple of teams out west that even scare me. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah, and I would say that the Padres are scarier than the Dodgers right now.
Yeah, man. They're going to beat each other up all season long. But, yeah, I agree with you. Kapler's boys are right behind San Diego.
So, yeah. Well, that'll change. That'll change.
I can't wait to play those guys, too.
Yeah, they're coming early. They come like what, in like next week or so?
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
Yeah, they come early because that's, you know, literally – he gets lucky because there's only going to be about 10,000 people booing him.
Damn, yeah, I was. Oh man, Monday.
We haven't even had a chance to see him yet.
Wednesday. Wow. Oh man, we're gonna have to talk. If I can make it out to one of those games, I would love. That'd be fun as hell.
Yeah, booing him.
It's a game you want to go check out.
But I would have loved to hear a whole stadium get on him.
Boo.
Yeah, I'll bring the coconut oil for him.
Oh, Gabe Cap, that was an interesting time period for sure, man. For sure.
Yeah, that shows you how well management in Philadelphia for the Phillies was. The upper management was for that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
But so like I said, so the Phillies, we got a long way to start talking about the Phillies, and then you might as well bring up a little bit because there's not much to talk about with the Eagles,
Right.
But they did make a really worthwhile signing.
Mm-hmm.
That they signed. Now I'm going to kill his name. I forget his name. From the Vikings, middle linebacker, 1 year, $3 million. It's a try me contract here, and I tell you what, this guy 122 tackles last year, 3 interceptions. The fact that they got him for such a steal is because he was really more a special teamer, and their guy got hurt. Thank you, Eric Wilson. I appreciate that. The guy got hurt, and he went in there and played the rest of the season for them, and played most of the season, and did great. Like I said, 3 interceptions. Did get a couple of sacks. Not really good against the run, but great against the pass. And I am okay with that because if he's great against the pass, then that means we got Singleton against the run, and we should be able to work that out pretty well.
Right. Before we went on air, we were going back and forth, like, should we bring up the Eagles? Like, it's like at this point of the all season, where it's like, should we bring them up? But I was telling the Philly sports guy, like, this team might not be that good, right? Like that's something I'm like going to season thinking like this team might not be that good. But I think this team might be fun to watch. It's still early, but they are putting together a team of just a bunch of underdogs. You mentioned it. This is another one of those signings where this is pretty much like a prove me type of deal. Like, he's taking a risk coming here on a 1-year deal. Same thing with Anthony Harris, who signed a similar deal as well. And these guys are coming here and trying to make a name for themselves. And these are both players that are familiar with Jonathan Gannon here. I like the way this team is set up with all these young players who got something to prove. Also, too, a big weakness of this team, the Doug Peterson era, was wide receiver and cornerback. Those are 2 positions that are it seems like they're so important in today's NFL, where it's pass, rules that help you with passing the ball more. And you hire Nick Sirianni, who's got a wide receiver background, who's done a good job with young wide receivers. You hire Jonathan Gannon to be his defensive coordinator, who has a background with secondary. And I'm excited that we're going to actually have some development going on with these wide receivers, with these cornerbacks. We won't have to see any more Nelson Aguilar's or any more Sidney Joneses leave here and start somewhere else. So I'm definitely liking how this team is structured. However, this NFL draft is super important. And, we're about 2 weeks away till that big day. The Philly sports guy is going to terrorize Cleveland.
I sure am.
But Philly sports guy, this is an important draft because, look, if you don't find players that helps this team next season, I mean, everyone's wish of Howie Roseman might come true, but I mean, you're hearing what like all these talks that's been going on about Doug Peterson's time here. The micromanagement of Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie on Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl winning coach, nonetheless. You don't feel good, you really don't. But that 12th pick, it's very interesting because there's a lot of scenarios that's going to go down come draft night. I think for Eagles fans, we need to pray and hope that there is a run on quarterbacks. If like those top 5 quarterbacks, Lawrence is a lock. I don't think Jacksonville's that dumb to pass on Lawrence, but Lawrence, Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, once those guys get drafted in the top 10, that should definitely benefit us. The next question a lot of Eagles fans have to ask, and the Eagles themselves have to ask at pick 12, you're going to probably have a good offensive player or a good defensive player that might be a face of your team for the next decade. What do you want? And I'm going to defer that question to you, the Philly sports guy. What would you prefer?
I'm glad that you asked. So me personally, I to be honest, I could care less whether it's that, but I want what I want. I want offensive line, defensive line, or cornerback. Those are the 3. Safety even could fall into that category if he's worthwhile enough. I pulled up 3 different drafts, mock drafts, all of which had different ideas. I'm going to start with the first one. that I pulled up.
Do you have the site?
The first one is CBS.
Okay.
And the guy who did this one is who's this guy's name? Ryan Wilson. So
Okay.
Ryan Wilson, with the 12th pick in the NFL draft, the Eagles select Devonta Smith from LA. So that they have that the Giants picking Waddle, Dallas picking J.C. Horn, the cornerback, Surtain going to Denver, Trey Lance. They traded up. Yeah, they got Trey Lance going to Washington in a trade with Carolina. Interesting. So that's just kind of how he's got this worked out for that. Second mock draft that I have. This guy's got, with the 12th pick in the NFL draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Kwity Paye, edge rusher.
Oh, God.
From Michigan. And just before that, they have Mac Jones from Alabama going to the Patriots.
That's such a Bill guy. That's like a Bill quarterback right there.
So,
saving the boy.
Yeah, lots of. This guy also had a very weird draft. Who was this specifically? This was a mock draft by Sam Monson off of the PFF network.
Okay. I mean, look, for me, like, I think it's going to come down to wide receiver and corner. Just by looking at the, like I just said, Sirianni, the wide receiver background that he has, Jonathan Gannon, the secondary background that he has. Obviously, at pick 12, there is a chance that Jamar Chase might be there. Might be a chance that Kyle Pitts might be there. I don't think it'll happen. So you're looking
Kyle
at
Pitts is gone. It had Kyle Pitts gone 4th in that one draft, but it had 5 quarterbacks taken in the first 10 picks.
Yeah, I could see that happening, and I don't see Kyle Pitts dropping outside the top 10. I think there's no way he leaves the top 10.
He doesn't leave the top 5. He doesn't leave the top 5.
I could see that as well. I could definitely see that as well. So I think you got to ask how he has to ask. So Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. I've been drafting how many wide receivers has Howie drafted in the top 2 rounds? Like it's got to be like more than 10. I feel like in his tenure with the Eagles, but
I can't stand it if they would do it again. I cannot stand it.
I'm kind of right there with you. So they got to ask themselves whether they believe Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith is going to come in here and have an immediate impact. If you're going to draft a wide receiver, he needs to have a Justin Jefferson type of impact from day one. For me, I think if those cornerbacks we've been talking about, Surtain, J.C. Horn, or Caleb Farley, if those 3 guys are there at pick 12, I think I'm good with pulling the plug on one of those guys. I'm thinking, you put one of these guys on the other side of Darius Slay. He's going to learn under Darius Slay, and then once Darius Slay's time is up, you move him over as your top corner. And it would just be nice to have some shutdown corners. Like, when was the last time Philadelphia had shutdown corners that we actually drafted? Or we actually had on this team, just in general. Like, Darius Slay is great, but imagine having a Horn or a Surtain or a Farley on the other side. It would definitely be good. And, we're going to be running a lot of cover 2 next season. So I think for me, get that cornerback who's going to be one of the faces of your defense for the next decade. That's kind of where I'm leaning out right now, because where we're slotted in pick 12, where I think this draft is going to be headed come that day.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because the third one that I did on the Pro Football Network, done by Matthew, I'm going to kill his name, Matthew Valdivinos. Valdivinos. I'm going to call it that. Sorry, Matt. But this guy has, with the 9th pick, traded up from Denver to Philadelphia for the 12th and the 84th pick in the draft. The Philadelphia Eagles select J.C. Horn, cornerback, South Carolina.
I like him, man. He's physical. He's played. I think I've heard him play safety as well, so he's got that flexibility as well. And obviously the pedigree. His dad was one of my favorite receivers growing up. Watching him play with New Orleans those teams were kind of bad, but he was fun to watch. If anyone remembers the cell phone under the goalpost, that was pretty memorable for me. But I do like that pedigree. I do like. I think for me, Surtain is my top option. But I think that's another player. I don't see him dropping outside of the top 10. And I think I like Horn a little bit better than I like Fairley. From what I'm hearing, Fairley is more of a physical guy, and he's got some length as well. So I think I'm prioritizing Surtain, Horn, and then Farley. But it should be a fun night, man. I think this draft's gonna be entertaining. I think some crazy stuff is gonna happen. Like you're talking about, like from pick 2 to pick 16, anything could happen. Literally anything could happen.
Right. I kind of agree with that as well. And so here was the other thing that I heard about the Eagles today. So they came out with the strength of schedules. And the strength of schedule for the Eagles this year coming up is historically low. Historically, it's been the lowest that it's ever been for one team since I think in the Super Bowl era. The combined record of these teams was like 114 wins, 156 losses. It was like it's for a 430 average, winning percentage.
So I'm assuming we're going to be playing Jacksonville, right?
No, we don't play Jacksonville.
We don't play Jacksonville. We definitely play the Jets.
First off, we play the NFC East, which didn't have a winning record. There's 3 teams.
That's right.
There are 3 teams, that have winning records that last year.
Wow.
3 teams are Tampa Bay,
New
Orleans, and Kansas City. All 3 of those teams we play at home.
Oh, that's good. Tommy Boy coming back to Philly.
So, and it's the first time Andy Reid is back in Philly.
Okay.
Is that what that is? Is it?
I'm gonna say he was here in 2013, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. The very first game of the season, I think it was. I think he came here.
I think it was our home opener with Chippers here.
Right.
Chip Kelly.
So,
listen, I'm right now. Today is April 12th. I'm just saying this team's not going to be good, but they're going to be fun. That's all I'm saying.
After hearing that stuff today and thinking about how the offensive line coming back, they re-signed Jordan Howard. I
like that move, by the way, as well.
Saying that, I think that the team, just because who they're playing against is going to be so bad, it wouldn't surprise me to see them go 8-8 or 9-7.
No,
it's hard for me to say that. You know what I mean? Because again,
last year.
But I think with the offensive line coming back, and you got Hurts now. Like Hurts is going to be the guy. If Hurts is anything like Lamar Jackson, that would be maybe something worthwhile. You know what I mean? And there's a possibility of that.
Well, you know what we need to do for that to happen? This team needs to be a run first offense. I think if this team sets up that ground game with, like you mentioned, that offensive line coming back intact, and listen, Jalen can run. Jalen's got the legs for it. You set up the run, or you run to set up the pass. I think that's a formula that could really work. For people who did watch the Sirianni special on the Eagles website with Fran Duffy breaking down film, man, I think his mind, the way just watching the Indianapolis offense the last 3 years, there is some components that you can bring here to Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts that gets me really excited. And he really does believe that big, explosive plays is a key to success. Like they had so many explosive plays, but the thing is that what people don't realize is they emphasize their wide receivers, those. If you can't block, you cannot play in Sirianni's offense. blocking for wide receivers is a priority. And there were so many plays where there was a big block that's opened up someone else. You saw, Jacoby Brissett or a Phillip Rivers or an Andrew Luck falling through the reads. And these are different things that I do think that Jalen Hurts can translate with. And I'm excited to see his offense. Flat out, I'm excited to see his offense. I agree with you. I think that Jalen can be effective in this league, but it's got to be run first. And like I said, I like Jordan Howard coming back. Listen, Doug didn't use him for what I still don't understand why we fully didn't use Jordan Howard over the past couple seasons. Because even when he was in there, my point is when you see him in there, he gives you those extra yards. Like you need that 1 yard, he'll give you 4 yards. And that's
he carries them.
Exactly. So seeing him with Miles Sanders, that Thunder Lightning combination, it's all I've been asking for. And with Jalen being able to run as well, if you sleep on the Eagles, they might be that team. If you sleep on the Eagles next season, they can bite you in the ass. And I think the Giants and Dallas, they're smelling themselves too much, man. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I don't think Dallas. I think Dallas is going to. I mean, I'm happy to see that Dak got his money and he got, trust me, and I know that, he got his money and he's going to be a comeback player of the year probably because he did suffer a really bad injury. However, my expectation is it's going to take him a full year to fully get back into the swing of things with, that. So I don't think Dallas is going to be as good as people think that they are.
Right.
And then I fully also expect the Giants, they still got a quarterback issue. I don't trust Daniel Jones, not even a little bit. Pick 6 Daniel Jones doesn't do anything for me.
I'm sure your Sneaky's talked you out of that, though.
Sneaky's tried very difficultly. Very challenged.
He is the president of the Daniel Jones, the Danny Dimes fan club.
Yeah, well, he's all excited because now they got receivers to throw to and stuff like that. But I don't know that Danny Dimes is going to be throwing them. But just my opinion, just the way I feel. When I was on the other show that I do, the NFC East show, and we were going through what our common opponents and what they thought whether it was going to be. He said win on every one. I'm like, listen, Sneaky. I mean, so you're not going to be realistic? He's like, no, I expect my team to win every time. Okay. All right, so you're not going to be realistic. You're just going to act like a fool because your team ain't going to win every time. You know that, right? So you're not going to go 16-0. Just even though you want to wish that they don't go 16-0, they're Sneaky. And as one of the other guys called him, Squeaky.
But love a sneak.
Yeah, but exactly. It's. I can appreciate the passion, but I mean, you got to also be realistic. You know what I mean? I know. He was saying, "Oh, the team was going to go 16-0 last year." I says, "Yeah, I expect to have a revision when you play the Eagles." So
that's right, man.
They did get one win. They did get lucky and get one win. So
they did.
Yeah, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. Yeah, every dog's got his day every once in a while. Yeah, and it took them, like 4 or 5 years to get one of the wins. I can appreciate that. Sometimes you got to, give something up to them, and then they're still crying, of course, about that last game. But that's what happens. Anyways, so we are going to go on a station identification very quickly, and we will be back in 90 seconds. So don't go anywhere. We got lots more to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
But right now, be back in 90.
You're listening to Northeast Streaming Sports. A group of independent podcasts came together under one umbrella to give you a network that streams from Northeast, New York, down the East Coast to Louisiana, and across the Atlantic Ocean to the United Kingdom. Northeast Streaming Sports streams live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Can be seen on Twitter and Instagram. Audio carried on Spotify. With our own website for the best sports information, updates, commentary, and entertainment, Sportscope, TGI Sports Talk, The Safety and the Sports Writer, the Philly Sports Guy, the Mac and Jack Sports Show, Stu's Wrestling Podcast, Four Stripes on Ice, Talking Baseball with Sal and Gioletti, Unscripted, The Big Shaw Sports Report, Frankie C Sports, Fantasy Football Face-Off, 12 shows and growing. There's one place to get your sports on Northeast Streaming Sports.
And we're back.
Yeah.
So still got a lot more to talk about. Like I said, we went through 3 of the teams. Fourth team, they are actually playing right now.
That's right.
Oh, there it is. And they are. My phone is being used for TikTok, so I can't even say.
I gotcha. So right now they are they're down by 1, so it's 17-16 right now. 6:03 left in the first quarter. Looks like Joel leading right now in points with his 6 points. Seth already has 5, so 6-5, and Toby's got 5 as well. So Sixers are underway right now in Dallas. Obviously, they gotta do their best. Looks like no Luka. Oh, there he is. He's there. Oh, he's there. 9 points there. So that's gonna be the tough part, trying to stop Luka. And we'll see what Josh Richardson does here. It'll be interesting to see. It said Josh and Seth are going to be linked together as long as they're both with Dallas and Philadelphia.
Oh, I got to imagine. And I'm not even sure about what's been going on with where they are in the grand scheme of things. I know that right now the Sixers and the Nets are tied for first place in the Eastern Conference.
Exactly tied.
In the Western Conference, Dallas is in the 7th spot. So they are holding that up by a good. It looks like a game and a half, 2 games and a half, 2.5 games. Yeah. So it looks like they're going to make it. But the 7 plays the 10. Right now in that 10 spot's the Golden State Warriors, and 8 and 9 will play each other in a 1-game play-in. So those things will be very interesting to kind of watch, because I've been getting a lot of trollers right now saying, "Oh, the Celtics, blah blah blah." Right now, the Celtics are tied with the Hornets for that 6th spot.
Yeah. Actually, I think
they're both a half a game out of the 5th spot from the Hawks, and only a full game out from the Heat in the 5th spot, the Hawks in the 4th spot. So really,
season's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, there's only 3 games difference between the 9th and the 4th spot.
So with Toronto trying to get out of the playoff situation.
Well, right now they're on the outside looking in.
I know. Thank for the
future. What? Not for nothing. It's got to be hard. They're playing down in Tampa,
away from their families and everything. That's definitely rough. But the West really does surprise me. Like, you got Utah and Phoenix, the top 2. I would have never predicted that. I would have thought it would have been Denver, LA, like somewhere in there. Definitely a little bit surprising, to say the least. But I mean, this Sixers team, honestly, I love watching Sixers basketball, but I'm just ready for the playoffs, honestly. I've seen good Sixers basketball in the regular season already. I'm just ready to play Brooklyn in the playoffs. I feel like every Sixers fan is right there as well. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, just watching Brooklyn play, I mean, I'm definitely a little bit worried. If these guys get it together, I do think that our defense will make it tough on them, but it's Kevin Durant, it's James Harden, it's Kyrie Irving. LaMarcus Aldridge is back to his back to his offensive self maybe 2-3 years ago. Obviously, he's not the player he used to be, but still, he's giving them a little something. They're deep. I mean, Landry Shamet, Blake Griffin's going to have his dunks here and there. He's probably going to guard Ben Simmons here and there when they play. Even a guy like TLC's playing well for them, which is crazy to think. Joe Harris. But I'm just ready. I'm just ready for Sixers and Nets come playoff time, man.
I think the Nets get spanked by the Sixers. I think that they have been taking every old guy that they can because they are so afraid of the Sixers.
They are, though. They really are.
I don't think that they're going to be coached well enough. I think that we win in that department. I think that we win because, the problem Harden has is that most of the time he doesn't get covered. And that's why he can score so many points. Put somebody on him, put Shake on him, and he ain't going to score as many points. And that's just the truth of the matter is. He'll get his. Durant will get his. And you're going to get they'd be scoring in the 20 points instead of like the 30 and 40 points. And that's really the difference. And so I think that we beat him in 6. And that's my opinion. I said that we were going to wind up second in the East. It looks like we're holding on to that spot right now, the top spot, but wouldn't surprise me if we fell to number 2.
Right.
And that we are going to represent the East in the finals. And we are going to be going against, and I know that Denver's supposedly a good team. I know that Utah's supposedly a good team. It's going to be one of the LA teams.
You could be right, man.
And all season long. This is how I started the season. It's how I'm ending the season. It's going to be, if the Sixers are playing the Lakers, we win. We win. If the Sixers are playing the Clippers, we ain't winning.
I mean, to me, I feel like Denver's set up the best to get to the finals, honestly. But, I mean, you saw what happened last year. There's ways to slow down Murray, and there's ways to slow down Jokic. Especially, there's some good center play out in the West with the top team, so that'll be interesting. For me, with the Sixers right now, my question mark is Ben Simmons. Like, we need Ben Simmons to be aggressive if we want to beat the Nets. Like, if Ben Simmons plays like we kind of been seeing him since the All-Star break, we're in trouble. We need the Ben. Like, it's so annoying. Like, we all know, like, near All-Star time, when Ben needs those votes to get in the All-Star game, Ben turns it up. He's done this every single game, but I need that aggressive Ben Simmons to come out in the playoffs. If he does that, I feel so much better because I know Seth and Danny are going to give what they give. We know what they're here for. They're here for the shooting. Toby is proven that he's a leader of this team. He's the closer of this team, and he's as important as Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons on the Sixers right now. We know what Joe's going to do. Joe's going to dominate every single night. No matter who's in front of Joel Embiid, he's going to dominate every single night. But I need all the other players to do their job. And I think the bench is going to be fine as well. I mean, he's going to come playoff time. Furky, it's so frustrating because we know what Furky is. It can be inconsistent at times, but he's been playing two-way basketball as of late, and that's really been refreshing to see. If he can play more like that, be more aggressive, I love it. Matisse, we know his defense, and people keep sleeping on it, but I do think that Mike Scott come Nets series is going to be an important piece to have. If we play this physical, defensive-oriented game, I really like our chances against the Nets. But this team has just got to keep the ball rolling, right? And then we'll see what happens come playoff time. Take care of your opponents, and we'll see Brooklyn when we see Brooklyn. But I'm just ready for the playoffs. That's all.
Well, and I agree with you on Ben. I think that I know that Ben is dealing with some family issues right now.
Okay.
And knowing the type of issues that he's dealing with about that, it's a big deal. And I know that, you could poo-poo yourself past that. Like, hey, he's a professional, ball player and stuff like that. But life trumps sports all the time.
Right.
All the time. And you can't just say what somebody's mindset's going to be because of a family situation. And it's okay that it kind of happened now. It's hopefully he can get his mind right about it and start to move on because it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I'm not going to go into it because it changes the whole dynamic of the conversation. But it's a big deal, and I can imagine that's part of the reason why he's not playing so passionate ball right now. But I fully expect that he's going to show up when the playoffs comes, and that's going to be the big deal. So, and I'm excited to kind of see that. Like I said, I feel that we are going to represent the East. There's nobody who's going to be able to compete against us,
Absolutely.
including the Nets. I'm also not concerned. I'm not concerned with the Bucks either. I think the Bucks are frauds. The Bucks are frauds.
The Bucks. And a quick reminder tonight: these Sixers are saying hello to other former Sixers player, obviously Boban Marjanovic and JJ Redick.
And JJ Redick was crying about it. He didn't want to go to Dallas.
Yeah. I mean, listen, this is a business, and I mean, there's been some shicey stuff going on in its entirety of the history. I mean, if you're JJ, I understand. Like, he's old and getting older in his career. He doesn't want to be far apart from his family much, anymore. Like, it was nice being in Philly when he was here for those couple of seasons. 2-hour difference between New York and Philadelphia. His family resides in Brooklyn, but from my understanding, New Orleans sold him like, hey, we're gonna buy you out. They had it, they jam packed, or they had it ready. I mean, but if team come deadline time right there, or he's gonna throw you a good deal, like, you're not gonna say no, right? So. It is what it is. This is the nature of the business, and I'm sure. Sure, JJ's playing days are going to come to an end soon enough. If not the end of this season, probably end of next season. So, I would have loved to have him here, though. I definitely would have loved to have him back here, but it is what it is, man.
Well, I think he'd have been good for what, like 15 minutes a game and scoring.
The problem when he was here was we didn't have enough good defensive players. Like that 2017 season. You had like Marco Bellinelli, Irsan Ilyasova, JJ. Those guys could not play defense, and that was a problem. But now you got you got defenders. So it would have been awesome having him here, coming off your bench, providing some 3-point shooting when you need it. And and he's got that relationship with Joel Embiid. We heard earlier in the year that Joe wants to create that relationship with Seth on the court, same way that he had with JJ. That pick and roll game was dangerous. So.
Yeah, but then he'd be taking minutes from Korkmaz.
Corky. Yeah, Corky's been playing better, man. He's been getting better at that pick and roll.
And like I said, I think first off, I tell you, one of the best guys on the bench has been Dwight Howard. I am
awesome.
So amazed on how well he's played and how well he's fed into this team. How do you not re-sign him? He's a 1-year guy. I mean, as long as he's okay with the money, maybe give him a couple more dollars. I mean, but he's been dominant. He's been dominant when he's been out there. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Other times he hasn't been. Like he can't play full minutes.
Right.
But I've been excited to see him out there. And he likes to pander to the crowd. He's big. He's a big guy who likes to, let the crowd.
Perfect for the city. Perfect.
Exactly.
Wait till we get full crowds, man. He's gonna love that.
Oh, I'm sure. And then we haven't even seen George Hill yet.
No, it's been a little disappointing as well. I mean, I was told that this injury wasn't as serious, but I mean, I'm hearing like we might not even see him until like the end of the season.
That's all right. At least he'll be rested.
He
is an old guy. Why bother even putting him in yet? Just get him back. Just get him warmed up. Get him 4 games to warm up.
That's perfect. Yeah, we do want him to get that chemistry with these guys, but I mean, he is a vet. He's been doing this for a while. He's been on some pretty good teams, competitive teams as well. So it should be good. It was interesting seeing Tony Bradley on Saturday night against OKC. Man dropped 16 on us.
Well, that's good because they play him. You know what I mean? Right. And of course he was going to drop 16 on us because he was inspired to play. You shouldn't have got rid of me. I got 16 in me. Yeah, all right. Good job.
You know what? I hope he makes it out in the league. I think there's a place for him in the league. He could be a backup center for a playoff team. I do think so. So we'll see what happens. But good for Tony. Good for Tony.
Well, hey, listen, you know what? He's getting paid. Be happy about it. You're in the NBA. That's that. You know what I mean?
He literally was learning behind 2 of the greatest centers of NBA history. Joel being it right now. Dwight in his prime was one of the best as well. That's valuable stuff. Take that and run with it wherever you go. And if you stay with OKC, great. But wherever man, he learned some valuable stuff here in Philadelphia. And of course, Doc Rivers is your coach too, so it was
you know
great.
What? Put on about 20 pounds. Figure it out. Get some weight on you. Because ultimately, that's the problem. He's a pushover. I feel like I could box him out. And I'm only 6 foot tall. You know what I mean? But I feel like that my body would be able to just kind of push him back and that's his problem. That's what I see.
Right.
Now, I mean, I might be overstepping my bounds by saying that I could box him out. You know what I mean? So I don't want all the haters to show up and say, "Oh, you ain't boxing nobody." You're right. I'm not an NBA basketball player, but that's what I see. I feel like he needs to put some weight on. Needs to get in the weight room, start putting some muscle on, and start being able to be the big man that he is. He's got to be a big man. Can't be a little scrawny guy. That's what happened to the other Bradley that I know named Sean.
Oh, how the hell did he make it on Space Jam? What the?
Because he was 7'6".
That was funny. So,
but I mean, I'm not trying to talk bad about Sean Bradley because he's now paralyzed from the waist because of that biking accident. So I'm not trying to talk bad about him in that regard. But I mean, it's like I said, he was getting boxed out. Like he had. I said that was the biggest thing. Like, send him up to North Philly, let him figure out how to bang with some guys. You know what I mean? That was his issue. He was the big Mormon.
Yeah, man. I mean, with this team here, so obviously behind Dwight Howard, they usually put Mike Scott as that 5 there, but I mean, they're just gonna have to run with what they have. I'm hearing Paul Reed is gonna skip like those garbage minutes still in the next couple of the game or in the rest of the season. But I mean, come playoff time, pretty thin at center, man. You're gonna have Joe and Dwight, and then Mike Scott for emergency. But that's all we're gonna run with.
I'm fine with that. Just as long as Joel don't get hurt, that's the big deal.
That's the name of the game.
I have been happier that they've been protecting him a little bit more now.
Yeah,
not letting people throw him around. So,
I'm not mad at load management. It's for me. It's all the big NBA players do it. Like LeBron does the load management. Kawhi does the load management. At the end of the day, you want these guys fresh and ready for the playoffs. That's when you need them. I don't need Joel Embiid in the 40th game of the season. I don't need it. I need him for game 4 of the second round of the playoffs. So I don't mind it, man. I really don't. But
I'm right there with you because as of right now, I still look at him as the MVP of the league, even though he has not played.
And I hope he doesn't win. Because that's going to drive him going into the playoffs. Oh, you don't think I'm MVP? I'll go win the championship. Don't worry about that. But this is a big week for us, Philly sports guys. So obviously tonight we're playing Dallas, which are now up by 4, 30-26. First quarter's over. But Wednesday we got Brooklyn. We got the Nets. And then on Friday, you got the Clippers, both home games. So big week here for the Sixers.
So the Nets are probably not going to play Durant Durant's going to sit one of the next couple of games because they were supposed to play tonight and they're not playing tonight. That got postponed.
I really hope they don't, though. I understand. I understand. Like I do agree with you. I want to see one. And I think the whole world wants to see it. Just one matchup. The starting lineup of the Sixers going up against the starting lineup of the Nets. I know it's regular season, but my God,
they're going to see it in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's what they're going to see. I'm a firm believer of that. I feel like so. And now I'm going to talk a little bit. So when I was arm wrestling. And you go up and you're saying hello to people and like your competitors, and you go to shake their hand and everybody would give you like a dead fish shake because nobody wanted to ever let you know what type of strength or power that you had. Just wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? You wait till you get onto the table to give anything away on what it is that you've got. And that's kind of exactly what they're doing here. They are holding the cards so that they don't show the other team what they've really got. You can see it on film sometimes, but you're not able to really do anything about it. Like, you don't know what you're up against until you actually play up against it. So I expect that game to be just like every other game. Kind of half-ass. You know what I mean? It's just not good. It's not going to be a Sixers Nets game. You know what I mean? It's going to be like the B League. You know what I mean? That they're going to bring their B game because they don't want to let anybody else know. They don't want to let each other know.
Right. No, I agree with you. I'm just speaking as a consumer. I would love to see. I just love to see just one game. But I hear you. I definitely hear. But it's gonna be got some good opponents here this week. Even with the Clippers and the Nets. So should be. We'll see. We're just waiting for what's the date here? So we're waiting for May 16th. May 16th.
Is that when everything starts?
Well, so that's the last game. That's the last game against the Magic. They don't have a time yet for that one, but after that, playoff time, baby. Playoff time.
And we end with the Mavericks?
The Magic, sorry. We end the season with it's actually back-to-back in Philly. Yep, back-to-back in Philly. So we play them the 16th and we play them the 14th. That's to end the season.
Huh. Okay.
Should be fun, man.
Should be. And then we get ready for playoff basketball.
Yes, sir. Can't wait.
And it'll be interesting because they got them 2 play-in games.
Yeah, yep.
So I'm interested to see because I think Chicago's going to get that 10 spot, and I expect Chicago's going to beat somebody.
WTF fan is feeling good about his Bulls.
Well, they haven't done anything yet, though. They're still in the 10. They're still going to be in the 10 spot.
Yeah, it's a good matchup.
That's the problem. That's the problem with
Chicago and Boston, and then New York, the Knicks, and Indiana. Two solid matchups.
So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see.
Absolutely, man.
So we know we got some more games with the Sixers. As of right now, what are they up? 39 to 34. About 10 minutes left to go in the second quarter.
Well,
There's another Philadelphia team that is out there right now. Hold
on. Wait. Philly Sports guy, hold on. We have a little bit of breaking news. This kind of actually happened right before we recorded. The Sixers did sign Anthony Tolliver to a 10-day deal. Now, he just came from Minnesota. He is a power forward. He does have some body. So we were just talking about the center depth. So that's probably a guy that they could use who's a veteran player that for the center depth. But that kind of happened a little bit before we started recording.
Got you.
That's from the Philly Inquirer as well.
Thanks, Philly Inquirer. I mean, costs you like $18 for a paper anymore. It's got like 8 pages in it, but I appreciate it.
But yes, to the union. All right. So to kind of break down a lot going on with the union right now, as their season kind of just started last week. Last Wednesday was the first game of the season in the Champions League for North America. And we talked about it last week. Union Nation as a whole, we kind of didn't feel comfortable going down to Costa Rica to play against Saprissa. A lot of injuries were going down. This is the first time we're in this competition. You're going to Costa Rica now, even though Costa Rica has been pretty strict with COVID and there hasn't been fans and stands over there. It's still pretty grueling to travel down there to play a soccer game. It's hot as heck. Like the guys were definitely tired after 98 minutes of soccer. But the Union went down there and flexed their muscles, put Philadelphia on the map, in the soccer map, and walked down there with a 1-0 win. We got a win on the road against Deportivo Saprissa. I'll be honest with you, Philly Sports guy. This win is top 5 wins in Union history. The fact that we're talking about the first Champions League competition for this team to play against a team of pedigree like Saprissa, the Yankees of Costa Rica, get a W. You put yourself on the map. You really did. Like people are slowly seeing around the world the Philadelphia Union. Last year it started. You sell Mark McKenzie, you sell Brandon Aronson for record fees. They're playing well over in Europe. They're playing in European competitions. And now you get this win here in CONCAF Champions League. That's huge. Absolutely huge. So now what's going to happen is this next Wednesday, They're here and they're going to come back home to Chester with a 1-0 lead. All they have to do is draw. You draw this game, you move on to the next round. What you don't want is, number one, allowing them to win, but you need to try to make them not score goals. More than one goal hurts you because, like I explained last week, in Champions League play, one away goal equals 2 goals. It's a weird rule. It's a soccer rule. They do it in the UEFA Champions League, the big boy Champions League. It sucks, but it is what it is. So the Union just need to play defense. Go on Wednesday. It's going to be rocking. I'm sure Philly sports guy, you saw the clip of the dirty play.
Shall we play the clip?
Let's
roll the clip. We'll be able to talk over this, I think.
So this is Ricardo Blanco. He's a long time. I think he played a little bit in the MLS as well. He's a fullback. He decided to make this ridiculous tackle. Kai Wagner does a complete 360 flip in the air, falls on his side. It was pretty dangerous. The controversy here is, I don't know if they're not going to show us, but the ref decided to go with the yellow right away.
We can show it in the very beginning. It actually shows the ref coming over with the yellow card right away.
Right there, yep. So that's the controversy right there. Anyone who saw that, as Jakob Glesnes, our center back, came to Kai Wagner's defense, something we wish the Flyers would have done more of this year. But I digress there. So the ref decided to go straight yellow, which it was clear as day that should have been a straight red card. Like that should be a red card right off the bat. The Kai Wagner's, that could have been a serious injury right there. Luckily, he was able to get up. The controversy as well from the Costa Rica side was, I think like 20 minutes earlier, Matt Rial, who just got subbed into the game, had a dangerous tackle on a Saprissa player. And honestly, in my opinion, we can go back and forth on this. Personally, the Blanco tackle was more dangerous than the Matt Rial tackle. The Matt Rial tackle was uncalled for as well, but Blanco, it was clear it was out of frustration. Saprissa is I think now they're on a 9-game winless streak. And this is a competition that especially Saprissa do well in, especially against MLS teams. And they laid an egg. So their frustration was shown in that second half. They were flopping extra hard. They had a couple other dirty plays. And then that was to top it off. That dirty play by Ricardo Blanco. Obviously, both teams got a little there was some extracurricular activities. And we had like 4 extra minutes in injury time. But this Wednesday, man, I already talked to fans. Like they're ready to just throw any insult they can at Ricardo Blanco. So Saprissa, they're going to be in for a rude awakening. And that's the difference here, is that we're allowed to have fans in stands here in the MLS. The MLS clubs are allowed to. So it's going to be a huge advantage. It's going to be rocking. It's going to be electric. There's going to be still some stadium capacity restrictions, but still, 4,000 fans. We're going to be loud and rocking. I'll be down there. Philly Sports Guy is going to be down there as well. He's making his Union debut. So we're looking forward to Wednesday, man. It's going to be a historic moment, and I'm so happy you're going to be there to witness it, man, because you're going to feel what I felt after the Red Bull match, after the Atlanta match in 2019, after the Red Bull playoff win, after the Supporter Shield win. You're going to feel why I constantly am advocating for the Philadelphia Union. It's moments like what we're going to feel on Wednesday, why I love this club. Moments like last Wednesday, why I love this club. But it should be a lot of fun, man.
So, and I want to talk about a couple of other moments that happened in that game. Of course,
fire away.
Casper scoring the goal, and I know I'm killing
friendly striker.
Casper Shabilko,
Shabilko,
and of course he gave me the thumbs up like and the fire thing on my. It's like I get excited when somebody with a blue check mark gets follows my stuff. That doesn't happen very often. So I was really excited about something like that, especially when I tagged him and he's like, yeah, I mean, so I was really excited about that goal for him. I know because he went down there and he was injured. He was even questioning of whether he was going to play or not.
Right.
So that was like a big deal. Also, I know that Riel was a sub in the first game. He did the slide tackle, but he also saved a goal.
Yeah.
He saved a goal. That was a straight goal that he saved, that he headed out of the net. And it was really close, and that could have, obviously would have tied the game. Would have made a big difference. It's a difference between a 1-0 and a 1-1 game. You know what I mean? So I was really excited to kind of see that type of stuff happen. And when there's Union playing at the bar, that's a big deal. You know what I mean? Because it's rare that you see soccer being played at the bar, and people watching it, people knowing what's going on. Like, I mean, I had a couple of referees that are Union fans sitting there watching the game with me, telling me a little bit about what's going on. Because, like, for instance, I thought that there was a foul that, like, they should have blew the whistle on, and they were saying, well, that he was holding the whistle. And the reason why you hold the whistle is because if they have an advantage and they, like, break away out of that, that's the reason why you don't want to stop play right away.
Right.
And that those are some of the things that I've played a little soccer, but I don't play professional. And so when I say, I'm like, wow, they were a little late on that foul call. You need somebody to be able to tell you what's going on so that it makes a little bit more of an understanding. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm just saying, hey, it's not like the NBA or in hockey or anything like that where we blow the whistle quickly. You got to make sure that you have to be able to do that.
If I may,
do some of the things.
If I may, a little analysis on that long goal. So before the season, we had a little kind of like Matt Niskanen with the Flyers. We had a little surprise. We had a surprise retirement. Ray Gaddis, longtime Union player, was drafted here from West Virginia. He retired right before the season. Now, not that talented, older player, but he was reliable. Like, Jim knew I can rely on Ray Gaddis at my right fullback position. So his retirement opened it up for Olivier Mbaizo, a Union homegrown player as well. And it was evident that this season we're going to be able to attack on both sides. Kai Wagner is on the left side of the left fullback, is one of the best fullbacks in this league. And he's done this in only 2 seasons. He's super talented. He knows how to move up and down the flanks, and he can track back and play defense. Olivier, he's really good at attacking. Sometimes struggles to track back and get back on defense. But on that goal, he set up that piece. He was the assist man. He had that ball on that flank, beautiful crossing. And Kasper Shabilko, listen, I love Kasper the person. I have been critical of him. There's times where I feel like Kasper just doesn't finish runs. He, to me, can be the leading goal scorer. To me, he could be the Harry Kane of the MLS. I genuinely believe he could be the Harry Kane of the MLS. But he just doesn't have like that killer mentality. He's very talented, very skillful player, knows how to hit the ball, but can't finish runs. He's not the fastest guy in my honest opinion, but he headed that ball in, and he put his head was in the perfect position. It was a great goal, and and like you said, he was injured before. He was on the injury list, and hopefully we can get more from him. Going to be big is that we're probably going to get back Sergio Santos in this next game. Now, Sergio is usually the one that runs with Kasper Shabilko as the forward. Anthony Fontana was moved up to play with Kasper Shabilko. That weird seeing those two together. It didn't work. Anthony was really quiet in this game. He really didn't do much. Anthony, he's got to be back at that number 10 position, and he knows his spots. Like his thing is he knows how to score goals. And he's a long range guy. Like he can kick a 30-yard goal. Like we've seen it before, but he just doesn't play defense. Doesn't really play good defense, and he doesn't really create for others. And that's been a problem for him. But Sergio coming back, he brings that speed. He links the midfield with Kasper Shabilko, so that's going to be huge as well. Jamiro Montero, Matt Real, and I forget the third player. They have yellow cards. So these guys, Jakub Glesnes. So these guys cannot get carded in this game. If not, if we move on to the next round, they will not be playing in that first game. So those are things to look out for. But no, it was definitely a great goal, and it's a goal we'll remember for a long time here in Philadelphia.
Well, and I like I said, it's one of those things where you don't see it very often, where soccer kind of starts to take over a little bit, and like I said, seeing a soccer game at the bar was fun to watch, and where you have a group of people sitting there watching it, and it's not just me and the the 3 or 4 guys that I was talking to that were referees, everybody else was paying attention. And then, and I felt that, so I'm going to kill their name. Saprissa,
yeah.
Saprissa was sleeping on him. I thought that they felt that they were just going to walk all over this team. And in the first half, you could tell they were just, the Union was just all over them. I felt in the second half that they started to take the game to the Union a little bit. And then, like I said, even as you started to get a little bit further in the game, they started to get nervous. They started to get a little nervous.
Right.
And
yeah, man. The Union generally proved to the world on last Wednesday that they belong on the stage. Like they showed everyone that they generally belong in like the North American ranks. So now they gotta finish the job. They have to finish. This is gonna be a tough week as well. Not only do we have the second leg, but the MLS season actually starts this weekend. There's gonna be a full slate of games. I'm super excited. You know me. The MLS is my favorite league when it comes to Americans over there. And I'm going to be so excited to watch some of these games. But the Union start their season, their MLS season on Sunday in Columbus at 5:30. Now, Columbus right now, they play in the Matt-Fire Stadium. It's a very historical stadium. It's got some great memories and moments with the Columbus team. But for the U.S. men's national team, that stadium has a lot of freaking memories. A lot of World Cup qualifiers played there. A lot of Mexico-USA games played there. Where Mexico just does not like playing in Columbus. It's usually cold. It's like where it's freaking Ohio. Like they hate playing there. So the Union also struggle playing there. Historically, we are terrible in Columbus. So we're starting off the season against the reigning MLS Cup champions in the Columbus Crew. After playing in Champions League, is that Columbus is also in the Champions League as well, but their opponent not that good at all. So it's a big week for the Union. Sports are full. I'm obviously, as we can clearly tell, the Flyers kind of have slowly pulled the plug on their season. They think the playoffs are done for them. But this, obviously we got the Sixers doing what they're doing, the Phillies doing what they're doing, and now we got the Philadelphia Union here. So Philly sports fans, we got plenty going on right now.
So just real quick, because I know that you're a lot more in tune about this than most, most of the Philly fans and such. How did the rest of the MLS fare in the CONCAF?
Surprisingly, we did really well. Historically, we do not do well in this competition. This competition is not suited for the MLS only because of the scheduling. So right now, most of these teams already played half a season, but because the MLS has an unorthodox way of scheduling their season, it hurts them. But they have, for me, the MLS has their season in the summer, because imagine, if you were to play the MLS season during the regular soccer calendar, they would go up against the NFL, the NBA, the NHL. The MLS wouldn't survive. Flat out, the MLS would not survive. So by scheduling like this, it's great for the American sports consumers, but worldwide soccer, it doesn't help them. In this competition, it doesn't help them either. So that's why MLS teams usually don't do well. But this time around, shockingly enough, I think no MLS team lost. Portland tied against Marathon from Honduras. Atlanta, surprisingly, with 10 men, they had a red card, so they played with 10 men. They beat the best team in Costa Rica right now, Alajuelense. They upset them 1-0. Obviously, we upset Saprissa 1-0. Toronto tied against Club León of Mexico, the Mexican champions from last season. And Columbus took care of business against the Nicaraguense champion Real Esteli. So surprisingly enough, no MLS team lost. So I was looking at it like, what the heck? Is this real life? This usually does not happen, but they got to get the job done. They got to finish it out. But this is definitely a great way to start the Champions League for the MLS. And as an MLS guy, obviously I want my Philadelphia Union in the finals, but I want an MLS team in the finals. I want an MLS team to win it, because the last time I think a team has won is like the Galaxy in the 2000s. It's been a long time. And listen, there's some pride here. We're representing America. I guess Canada, we know it is what it is, but we're representing America, representing our league. We need that. We need that trophy in America. So whether it be Philly, Portland, Columbus, or Atlanta, I don't care. Someone bring it back to America.
So, but you're saying that it's possible that it could be an all-American final.
As much as I would love to think that, these Mexican clubs are pretty sharp.
How many other games are there that didn't include American teams?
So you had Atletico Pantoja, a club from the Dominican Republic, go up against Monterrey. Monterrey is from Mexico. They won this tournament 2 years ago, so they're pretty damn good. Club America, the Yankees of Mexico, played Olimpia from Honduras. Olimpia is like the big team in Honduras. They beat them 2-1. You had Cruz Azul, the Eagle. I like to call them the Eagles of Mexico. They drew against a club from Haiti called Arache, and that's it. Those were the three matchups that didn't have an American team in it.
Okay.
So it's gonna be fun. It's definitely gonna be fun. This I was telling my girlfriend's brother, like I love, like I was trying to watch as many Champions League games. I would have, like, a Philly sporting event here. I would have a Champions League game here, because this tournament is so much fun to watch. It really is, especially if you're a soccer head.
So I'm assuming that Columbus is also going to be playing their game on Wednesday or Tuesday or Thursday somewhere. I guess probably Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, so they play Thursday at 8:00, and they'll be back home in Columbus.
So that'll help, won't that?
Yeah, that definitely will help. This Columbus team, though, they made some really smart moves during the offseason, kind of to like reload to make another run. They, to me, now are deeper than the team that won last season. And they still have the best player from last year's playoffs, Lucas Zelarayan. He's an Argentine midfielder who literally took over the playoffs last year. He had like one of those type of performances last year. So, yeah, it's going to be the first game of the season, but both of us, it should be an entertaining game, because both of us kind of in the same situation. But I think we'll see how if Columbus's depth does come into play come Sunday in Matt Fire Stadium.
Yeah, because I can't imagine that they're going to play all the starters in the CONCAF, and then the same starters are going to come back and play on Sunday.
I will say I would be surprised if the Union walk out Sunday with a draw, just because of history there. It's going to be, I think, the second to last game at Matt Fire Stadium, a historic stadium. So, the team, those fans are going to come emotional as hell. So I literally would be happy if we walk out with a draw, literally start the season off with the point. And I believe we play Inter Miami, our first home game. So there's some history with there as well.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun going into this season, man.
Yeah, but Miami's not. They don't have a good team. They stunk last year. I kind of expect they'll stink again this year.
So they don't have a good team that plays together. They do have star players. Last season, we did piss off their best player, Gonzalo Higuain, who many soccer heads know from his time in Europe, and now he's over here in the MLS in Miami. His first game was in Philly. He literally, like, before the game was like, I never even heard of Philadelphia. Kind of like, it felt like a disrespect. Like, as a Philadelphian, it felt like he was trying to disrespect Philadelphia. And then Jose Brujo Martinez literally just one-upped him. Like, I feel like Gonzalo is just schooling the Philadelphia Union match, because he had one of his worst games of his career in Philadelphia. He missed the penalty shot. He looked like Cody Parkey with the penalty shot. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And us Union fans, we're gonna love it. We love heckling these star players. We never were able to, like, in the 10-year history, like, we saw David Beckham come in here, Giovanni Dos Santos, all these star players. They would always one-up us. But now we dominate these designated players, man. So it should be a lot of fun.
Nice. Well, I'm excited for Wednesday. You're going to see the Philly Sports Guy Union Edition come out, and
I'm so excited for that.
We're going to be all over Costa Rica. I tell you, because I when I saw that hit, I was like, that's cheap. And they had done another hit that like before that too. Like there was a couple of them that they had done that the first one, they didn't give a yellow card, and they thought that it should have been a yellow card. And then that one was definitely a red card that they only gave a yellow card to. So
I had fans of other MLS teams like tweet at me like, yo, like that's messed up. Like that was so like that the term we use, like that's so CONCACAF, because CONCACAF is so unpredictable. And like, yeah. So everyone was understanding that, man, for sure.
Well, and I'm surprised that because they were talking about how they don't have the I guess the punishments because of the governing body that normally deals with soccer in this in this part of the world wasn't involved, but that the CONCAF should have gotten maybe even stepped in on that one because that one was so egregious, and they didn't. So it's a little surprising, and I feel like that the union is going to got something for them now. Like that's going to be awesome, and I want to see a win. I want to see this happen. I want to be able to go back. I want to see us come back again. So when they move on to the next round, I'm saying when we move on to the next round, is it the same type of setup?
From my understanding, it's going to be like there's no reseeding. So they'll follow as the bracket, like kind of like March Madness. So they'll follow the bracket as so. So if I'm not mistaken, we would be playing the winner of Alajuelense from Costa Rica or Atlanta United. A lot of Union fans, a lot of MLS people just don't care for Atlanta. Kind of like the mantra is like Atlanta, you know very well, Atlanta sports history is kind of bad. Like it's embarrassing to be an Atlanta sports fan. But when Atlanta United came in the league, they were already the big dogs. Like they were taking down all the good teams. They won a championship. They won the MLS Cup in their second season. Last year was kind of a big dud. Like it was not Atlanta soccer. This year they went back to their roots. They hired a South American manager. They got some of the best young talent in Latino America. They upped their back line, and Union fans just don't want to see Atlanta fans like be happy again. Pretty much, a lot of them don't, because Atlanta during those years when they were winning trophies and whatnot, they were a little bit obnoxious. And I get it. Like imagine being an Atlanta fan. You get a team that actually starts winning stuff. Hell, we're Philadelphians. We would be obnoxious as well. Like, come on. Right. So I kind of understand where Atlanta fans are coming from, but it's pretty interesting to see like how some MLS fans react to Atlanta's satire sometimes. But no, it should be interesting to see. And Union fans probably would want to see Atlanta United in the next game.
Well, but I guess my question is will it be the same type of setup in terms of
like 2 games,
back homes, 2 games,
right? Yeah, it'll be 2 games. The championship, they usually don't do the 2 legs. It's like the Super Bowl. It's like 1 game done.
Now is that 1 game? Is that at a neutral field?
We'll see. Usually it hasn't been. Last year it was only because of COVID. They did a bubble in Orlando. So that was the only reason why it was a neutral site. But usually it's like at the home of the team, which I hate. Like MLS does that too. I like the neutral site. Like it's like something about like you play like a 17 game NFL season. You got the playoffs, then you got that neutral site. Everyone's planning like Philly sports guy taking over Tampa. Like I want that too for the MLS. Like have a neutral site, but they just are gonna keep doing the home team. Like we had an MLS Cup, like an MLS final in Columbus at that old stadium. Like it was weird. Like, but hey, it is what it is. We'll see how it works out. But yeah, that would be the format of the tournament.
Hey, I'd love to see the CONCAF happen here in Philadelphia.
Right, exactly.
Like right around the same time that they allow all the fans to come back in the stadium. That would be exciting.
Yeah, man, we're gonna have to get through this tournament, but I think, and again, I'll keep saying it for the Union fans, let's just enjoy the moment. Let's take it 1 game at a time. We've been bitten before, but just take it 1 game at a time. That's all.
Exactly. Well, I being more of a newer Union fan and getting myself into it, I'm going to be just as loud as and excited, and they're loud over there. Like I said, it's not like you can hear me over top of everybody else because there's everybody else is screaming and yelling and carrying on, and they make up their own songs up there.
Yeah, we're going to teach you those songs. Don't worry.
Well, I mean, you guys make up songs for everything. You know what I mean? It's just like all of a sudden somebody's starting a song and nobody knows the words, but that's all right. That's okay. It's going to be a lot of fun watching them beat them up. I want to see them beat their ass, especially after because they're giving those cheap shots. You're coming to Philly now, and we'll show you what we do with cheap shots. You know what I mean?
That's why. So, that's why I hope that your Nets prediction is right about Wednesday, because if I'm at the Union game and I find out like it was KD, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving going up against Joel Embiid, they're like, no,
no. And it's a shame. It's a shame because KD would probably want to be at the game.
Oh, look what the Philly sports guy did there. Let's go.
KD is for all you Philly fans that don't know, KD is a part owner of the Union. So he would want to be at this game, and expect to see him come in if they make it, one thing at a time. You know what I mean? They got to get to the next round and then the next round and the next round. But if they were to make it to the CONCAF finals, you'd better believe I'm sure he would be here for that. I'm
All
sure
right,
he would be
so
here for that.
I looked it up a little bit. So I got the bracket right in front of me. So yeah, so if we do take care of business against Saprissa, winner of Atlanta and Alajuelense. Now, if we get to the quarterfinals, the other two matchups right now, Marathon and then Olimpia and Club America. So Club America is probably the favorite out of those four teams to move on. But it would be crazy seeing like the Union going up against the super powerful Club America. Like, that'd be wild to think about. But obviously we got to take one step at a time. One step at a time.
Yeah, exactly. We got it. That's all we got to do. Just tie. All we got to do is tie on Wednesday.
And I will say this too: if for the Union, going far in this tournament will help so much for our local Latinos. So a lot of the issues with our fan base, we don't have a lot of local Latino love. Being able to do well in this tournament where local Latinos pay attention, it will be huge. A lot of these local Latinos have their team from back home, but they're not really down to get in with the MLS because it's like there's the stigma that it's a terrible league and it's not theirs. But if they're able to do well, it's going to help with our fan base growth as well. So keep that in mind as well.
Well, they said that there were a whole bunch that they did sell a bunch of jerseys down there.
That's right.
Powder Blues. There's Powder Blues.
Right. Still waiting for mine.
Pretty well. So, and I'm not wearing a powder blue, and they won't be wearing the powder blues here, right?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. I would expect to wear the blues. Now I want to wear white. I'm thinking about it. I think I'm going to wear white Wednesday. So obviously, we're all going to be there Wednesday booing the crap out of Ricardo Blanco, the dirty player, the dirty hitting on Kai. So Blanco in English translate to white.
Of course.
So in the little would be great, and it wouldn't hurt. Because obviously our rule down at the River's End is you're not allowed to wear red because we hate the Red Bull, and you're not allowed to wear the color of the opposing team. So you're not allowed to wear maroon, purple, but we can wear white because white is one of our colors. One selling jersey. Yes, that's right.
Number one, right?
Yes.
I had to put that one up there, and I did hear the same thing that it is the number one selling jersey in the MLS.
That is crazy. That's another thing. Like in those 10 years of the first 10 years of the Philadelphia Union, I would have never thought that the Union would ever be a top selling jersey in the league. Growing up, I saw David Beckham's LA Galaxy jersey everywhere. I saw Kaká's Orlando City jersey, David Villa's NYCFC jersey. Never would you see a Philadelphia Union jersey. And now it's a number one selling jersey in the league. This team's growth since 2000, I want to say 2018, has been spectacular. And look, the Philly sports guys on board. These are the reasons why you get on board. You're jumping on board of the next team to be the big thing in Philadelphia.
Well, and we're creating history. I've been to a couple of games, and it's funny because I brought my son to the game the one time, and they hadn't scored a goal all season, and then they scored 3 that game. And I told him, I'm like, yeah, see, they scored 3 goals because you were here. That's why they scored 3 goals. He's like, well, I should come every game then.
That's right. That's right. Season tickets, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I have a buddy of mine who actually has right at midfield with those, tickets. So, I mean, it was a great time. And they allowed the Philly sports guy there, the Eagles Philly sports guy, to show up for Fag's birthday.
Hey!
So I was there with all the mascots and the Philly sports guy. I got my picture with all those mascots. It was amazing. So
that is freaking awesome. Philadelphia, by far, look, there is no competition. This is the best mascot city in the country, by far.
Without a doubt. And so I wish that they would be the best teams and not just the best mascots.
That would be nice. One step at a time.
Happen. And yes, I will be to a Wings game. We got first-hand information that the Wings will be starting in December.
Okay.
We have insider information about that.
That's good to hear.
Somebody very, very close to the NLL.
Sounds good. Good to hear. Now I'm ready to go to Wings game. I mean, I want to do some Wings content too. It's a sport that I'm not really, well versed in, but I'm down. I'm always down to learn, and it's Philadelphia. We support.
Well, you know who that is. You know who our contact is.
I know. We can't give out our sources.
No, we can't give out our sources.
Shefty would never give out his sources. Neither would we.
But listen, everybody. I want to thank everybody for hanging with us tonight.
Yes.
Listen to all Philadelphia. Listen, I'm so used to being with you guys for like 5 hours on a Monday because the Flyers have been playing every Monday. And we were considering doing the Sixers tonight, but it was a little bit of a later start. And I don't have, I'm not able to watch the Sixers game tonight. So I wasn't going to try to play the game that I did the last time. I was trying to restart the thing every time. I was going to play that card. So, but anyways, it was great having you guys tonight. I don't know what that was. It was great having you guys tonight. We got, like I said, we got more sports happening here. The Union on Wednesday. Flyers in Pittsburgh this week.
Oh, man.
We're going to see.
You still beat Pittsburgh. Come on.
Exactly. And I think that we're going to see a lot of the guys come up, as Philly is saying right here. A lot of the new Phantoms are going to be coming up to play with the big club.
Give me Cam York, please.
I think you're going to see him this week. That's kind
of exciting, though. Like I said, it's disappointing that the Flyers are putting us through this, but seeing the youth, maybe we got future stars here. Like I'm excited about it.
I would love to see the youth come up here and start like putting a fire into this team right now, and actually maybe still take a false run. You know what I mean? I don't think that we make the playoffs, but it would be nice to see the fire get lit and then kind of make that little bit of run right now. That would be awesome to kind of watch. At least scare the other teams. You know what I mean? Change up the rankings up at the top.
It can't get any worse than March. It really can't.
No, especially that they gave up more goals in March than they ever have in any other month, in their entire franchise history. So, like I said, when you're at the bottom, there's only one way to go, and that's up, baby. So, but everybody have a fantastic week, and we will see you next Monday here on the Philly Sports Show. Everybody, have a great night.
Go Sixers.
Let's